Hello, I'm Richard Titus, and I'm the founder of a company called Promptly, which we're here to share with you today. Promptly is a little different than the previous company here. It's focused on two things, time and money. And specifically, it's focused on a slice of the economy called the invisible economy, or service providers, self-employed people who sell time by the hour. And as you can see here, there's a massive, massive chunk of these people. They make up over $1.27 trillion slice of the US economy today. And our focus specifically is on how do we help them better manage their business. Let's talk about one of these people in specific who's very dear to my heart. This is Mick, my daughter's drum teacher. And he is, while the best drum teacher in the world, also the most disorganized. So I've just sent him an invite to the platform using text message. I scheduled an appointment in the app and sent him an invite, and bam, he clicks the link and he's on the platform. Let me show you how easy it is to set up an account on Promptly. So the first thing he's going to do is load up a profile picture. He's helpfully got one of him playing drums here. He's going to click the link to set up his data. One of our key design features of Promptly is to think about how do we make this product super simple and easy to set up for anyone on any mobile device. No computer required, no calling in to register, no putting your credit card in, just your name, phone number, email address, and a pen. The pen's important because if you lose your phone, you could recover your account and your data on any other device, of course. Great, so now we're finished setting up the account. Let's enter our availability. Mick, he's a drummer, probably doesn't start work at 8 in the morning, so let's move his availability a little later in the day. He likes to work Monday through Fridays. He also has decided to establish a new day of working, which is Saturday afternoons. So what he's going to do is schedule that day as a discounted time. That's a special time that he can offer a discount up to 50% if you book a time with him in the afternoons on Saturdays. There it is, his schedule is done. Let's schedule an appointment, shall we? So it turns out Mick has heard about Richard's friend Jason. And Jason would like very much to schedule an appointment. Oops, maybe not Jason. Let's pick someone else. Maybe Pam, the trainer. So Pam likes to be texted. This is very important. When you set up an appointment with someone using Promptly, you can use text messages or email or in-app messaging if they're on the platform. In this case, we're going to send a text message. We're going to choose two times, 5 and 6 o'clock, for a drum appointment. And we're going to send those appointments off, bam. And they are in the calendar. As soon as she approves them, we're going to go back into the platform. So let's talk about this whole mobile first thing and why this is so important. When we did our customer interviews, we interviewed over 150 people, all different categories, dog walkers, chiropractors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and all these people. We learned a couple of interesting stats about this marketplace. It's a 20 million person marketplace in the US alone, but it turns out less than 20% of these people have computers in the home. Forget digital first, these are digital only. And so what these people really need, they all have smartphones, however. So what these people really need is they need to get on a platform that does three things for them. Scheduling and a sub-function of rescheduling, simply with their customers without them calling them and interrupting their work. Second thing is collect payments and track payments against that schedule. There aren't very many products in the world that allow you to do this very simple thing of saying, hey, I have an appointment and I got paid for that appointment. And the third thing they need to do is promote and market their available time. And that's the thing we're going to show you next. And that is the most powerful thing because today, canceled appointments equals lost revenue for most of this category. This is Pamela. She's my trainer and yoga teacher. And I really like Pamela. I also call her my therapist these days. However, I like to meet her 2 to 3 times a week. She doesn't like me very much, however, because I'm always rescheduling and canceling. So then yet again, this week, because I had to be here at launch, I had to cancel on her. So I opened up the platform, I pressed the link, and I suggested a new time with her to schedule our session. We click on the link. This is a text message she got. She opens it up, and she could choose one of the 3 appointments I've suggested. And bam, now what does she do with that time that I just canceled, and it's now free time for her? She's going to promote it using Promptly Promote. She clicks on the link for Promptly. She chooses which social network she wants to market it to, whether it's going to go to one person or many people. If your calendar's really full, you might have one customer you want to send this appointment to, or you may want to broadcast it to your entire phone book, or even your friends of a friend. So in this case, we've marketed this appointment to all of the people. Now let's see what happened with that discounted session. As you can see, all of her customers get a message that says, hey, it's 15% off on this session if you book it now, or $5 off if you refer a friend. And that amount, of course, is settable by the service provider. The last function we'll look at today is invoicing. So it turns out I've had my session, and here's the invoice we're going to do. And as you can see, invoicing is very complicated in this space. Some people do hourly booking, some people pay every session, some people want to pay 10 sessions in advance to get a discount. We can manage all that functionality in one simple set of systems. And we integrate with 2 payment systems for launch, WePay and PayPal, in addition to, of course, good old cash and check. The last thing you can do is you can check who owes you money and what their invoice status is. You can really have your entire business in the palm of your hand. This is groundbreaking. None of these people today have ever had a product that does all of these things for them, all in one simple product. So I think that's sort of the end of this. I can tell you I'm really excited where the product is. We've just launched a public beta this week and next week. We'll then be going out in the app stores soon, very after that. We've raised about $250,000 in seed funding. We're targeting $1.5 million for the seed round. We've got a bunch of big conversations going on, but we are thinking about, given the excitement around the launch of syndicates, of having someone launch a syndicate around us, and we've had a couple people approach us about that today. The second thing you can do to help us is suggest your service providers try and sign up for our application and join the beta. We're looking for lots of different diverse providers in lots of different categories to join the beta to help us understand what the difference is in their product behaviors. And the last thing is you yourself can go to Get Promptly and sign up, because I can guarantee you this product will make your life better, easier, and more manageable. Thank you.
Well done. Okay, so let's start with who went last time. Bridget, what did you think?
I think it's interesting. I think
right into the microphone. Yeah.
Oh. Your design is great. I think the user experience looks very simple and easy to use. I'd be interested to know how you plan on acquiring your customers.
It's a great question. So our first go-to-market strategy is, of course, it's sort of the basics of hygiene of press and PR and do a bit of marketing just to get people comfortable with the brand name and something they're familiar with. The key next step is partnerships. And those partnerships are with vertical channel partners. They range from societies and memberships. We've already talked to over 20 different organizations, like trainer organizations, nutritionist organizations. And then it's also going to be platforms. So WePay, our first strategic partner, that we haven't announced just yet, but I guess I just did, has 32,000 paying customers in San Francisco. So they'll market our platform to them as they're promoted as a great scheduling platform in exchange for us using them as our partner on the platform. We're talking to a lot of other verticals, like extra phone lines, people like Rebel Mouse. These are all people we've talked to about figuring out how do you build the perfect package deal for the solo entrepreneur. And after that, we move into one of the most interesting customer acquisition states that I'll let Eli talk about. This is Eli, my partner, our CTO.
Hey, so the thing about these people is that they're actually quite easy to pull out of a database. And if you look at the acquisition strategies for many of the sort of discovery-focused businesses, you'll see that actually what they're really doing is scraping the web, identifying these people, and then marketing to them. And we will do exactly that technique. It's been proven to be incredibly cheap as a tool, and it's something that I've done in the past.
So it's a 1, 2, 3 punch. To give you an idea of traction, when we were doing our customer interviews, I'm used to, as a user experience expert, spending a lot of time asking people about a product they're not really very interested in getting. Of 150 people we interviewed, we have 150 people who signed up for the beta and want this product. Customers are desperate for this. There is nothing else in the market that satisfies this demand for them in the way that we do.
Great, let's get another question or some feedback. Cyan.
Well, one, it's an incredibly beautiful product. It reminds me a lot of like Style Seat and these various products that are coming out that are helping people with booking. Mm-hmm. I do have a couple of investments in this space, and I do know it's incredibly difficult to acquire customers. Like Thumbtack, there's also Zarly, AppStack, and I know it's a bit of a sales challenge to try to get people in. So I think that will be a challenge for you, just a little bit of feedback. Mm-hmm. How are you going to compete with these other platforms out there that are in your space? Because it is a bit crowded. So
it's a great question. All of those companies you just mentioned are marketplaces, and they're actually the opposite of us. In fact, we view all of those people and have had deep conversations with a couple of them for strategic partnerships. Because those are people who are designed at getting customers for providers only. So they're a marketplace like a discovery platform. We're think of us more like Square or OpenTable. We run the provider's platform. And we'll actually publish availabilities to those people if we can work out a commercial deal to give them more inventory. I ran one of the largest portfolios of discovery businesses in the world in the UK. And what I learned is that business is all about load balancing between supply and demand. So we can be another supply source for them at some sort of economic terms. So in fact, the only people we really directly compete with are a small business in New York, which doesn't have the promote feature that we do. And some of the sort of more sectional products, things like Gmail for just the calendaring piece, or FreshBooks for the accounting piece. But there isn't really any single integrated mobile-first platform for scheduling, promotions, and payments. It doesn't exist.
Okay, David, working right down the line.
I agree that the UI is beautiful.
Right in the microphone, please.
Sorry.
Yeah. You got to get close to those. Yeah.
I agree that the UI is beautiful. How do you hope to get paid? Are you taking a
Great
cut?
question. And it wasn't in the presentation because we've just launched our website today, and until today, we weren't public about our pricing model. Pricing model is a tiered freemium model. So if you do less than 10 appointments a month, it's free. More than 10 appointments, but if you don't want unlimited, that's $9.99 a month. And at a certain tier, it's $19.99 a month for unlimited, and $39.99 a month gets you all the support you want, plus tiering and pricing.
And
We're going to play around with that over the next couple of months as we learn what the customers want, but our interviews have told us that's pretty dead on for pricing.
When you're handling the transaction, are you going to take a fee for that?
No, it turns out when we did our customer interviews, all of these providers would rather pay a fixed amount of money every month, but not have us reach in their pocket every time they sell an appointment. And in fact, one of the things they really hated about some of the existing solutions is that percentage thing, which made them different. The only place this is different is when you bring them new business via a new partnership or something else. Then they're sort of okay giving you a piece.
I agree with that. I think the idea of taking a percentage makes people, it incents them to go outside of the system, which is self-defeating. Do you think that you compete with Take Lessons and other people who are in vertical spaces?
So it's really interesting. We talked to a lot of providers, and many of these people, there were solutions in their market, and they didn't know about them. But one guy said something about that was very interesting. It was a motorcycle teacher. He said, I don't like any of those specialty things. They don't work, the companies are small, and they disappear. I mean, he had one a couple of years ago that when he had a computer, he doesn't have one anymore, and he was using it for a while, and then the company went out of business. And he said, look, I like things like PayPal. Everyone uses it. It's really consistent, and it solves the same problem. We all have the same needs. And I thought that was just an incredibly eloquent statement for someone who was actually not, someone I would have expected to have that kind of market perspective. These smaller channels are it's really difficult to build a market because you get none of the virality benefits that we get for promoting our product. Every provider can refer another provider of any category because it's for everyone. So we get a lot of that value that PayPal and a lot of these businesses have of getting people on the platform quickly. And once you start using it to schedule and reschedule, and then you get that first sold appointment, you're never going to leave because with one sold appointment, you've paid for a year subscription.
Great.
So I'd echo congratulations on achieving amazing simplicity and ease of use and beauty in the interface. Quick question about integration with all the other calendars in my life. How's that going to work?
Yeah, so I think in the demo you could see it was actually reading in from your Google Calendar. And the thing is, because we're running on the phone, we can read everything, right? And we can also write to everything. So the challenge is really about making that experience very, very straightforward, right? So that you don't have to go through 14 steps of calendar setup. You don't have to choose which calendar it's going into every time. And we think we've gotten a pretty good angle on that.
One of the interesting things we learned is we have one of our advisors is Ellen Levy, who was on the board of Tungle, one of the first investors. And if you think about that product, it required you to be integrated with all these software systems because the mobile phone wasn't your primary computing device. But today, and again, I refer you back to the data point on these providers, 100% smartphone penetration, less than 20% PC penetration. If they own a computer, they don't like to use it. They're all about their mobile phone. They want to run everything here. An interesting thing, none of the people in the market, none of them, can let you sign up on your phone only without ever going to a computer or calling in. We're the only company that can do that today.
Awesome. Molly, some final
Can
feedback?
you give me a little more insight on how your invoicing works? I know,
Sorry.
thank you. Actually, if you could scoot over
I was
just
going
a
to say,
little
can I
bit
help you there?
perfect.
There we
Thank
go. You're in shadow, but you can see me.
Right, exactly. How does your invoicing work again, or what kind of data can you deliver to the provider?
So actually,
From an invoice
invoicing is one of the
perspective?
most exciting features of the product. And we didn't really show it here because it's kind of bitty and not very sexy on stage. But really, if you think about it, we sort of replace all of the accounting packages you have, except for the one your accountant uses to do your taxes. Of the 150 people, 100% have a tax preparer who prepares their taxes. And their tax preparer today hates them because they bring in little wads of paper and calendars and things. So we can just output a set of data to the accountant that says, here's how many sessions they had, so he can calculate how much money they made. The other thing we can do, though, is we do things like, hey, you should be doing yield pricing. You should be charging more money. Or, hey, this customer canceled 10 times on you this year. Maybe you should get rid of Titus and get someone else as a training client.
So there's a data benefit too. So, and then my last question, what does the customer of the provider have to do? So if I am the person, do I have to install the app also?
Nope, you don't. It's the great question. So when you get the appointments, you can just accept them on your text message, and they'll go into your phone. However, if you join the platform, then you get the benefit, when we haven't shown this feature yet, we'll start to do some calendar matching, where we look at your calendar and my calendar, and we say, hey, here's our best 3 appointment times, as opposed to like me, with my calendar, finding 3 appointments for me in the next 2 weeks. might be kind of difficult.
Richard, it wasn't clear,
That is
but
awesome.
that was all the web and SMS, right? That was, were you in an app, or there were moments when you weren't in an app, moments where you weren't?
So everything on the phone is in an app, but it's an HTML5 wrapper. It's a wrapper about an HTML5 content. You should talk about that.
Yeah,
actually.
but Jason, your question was actually about what was happening in terms of the flow, and it's actually quite simple. The provider is in an app. They send a text message to their customer. The customer clicks the link in the text message, and then the web page pops up. It gives them the times, meaning they don't have to get on the app to.
So the client can just get a text message
Right.
and just use mobile web?
Yes, we attempted to deliver quite a lot of value, even if you were only a one-sided solution. So
Our suspicion is that as a consumer, the minute you have that first rescheduling experience, you're going to tell everyone about this, because I don't know about you, but when I went on vacation with my kids 2 weeks ago, I had to send text messages to 19 people rescheduling them. I spent 2 hours of my life trying to reschedule this day so I could go surfing with my kids.
Right.
Huge
All
pain
right,
point.
let's hear it for Promptly. Well done.